Imagine a book that was so powerful, so dangerous, that the church banned it. This is a book that leaders, kings, and politicians have been reading for more than 500 years. And they have been reading this book secretly because they don't want you to know about this book. The book I want to discuss in this video is The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli. And today I'm going to break it down. A lot of persons have heard about this book, and I've seen a lot of opinions about this book online. But I think most of the opinions are misunderstood. If I may put it that way, I think they are misunderstood. I just finished reading it, and I want to share what I actually found inside this book. I'm not going to talk about the noise. I'm not going to talk about the myth. I just want to share real lessons that I got from this book. Hello guys, welcome back to the Amy White Experience. So first, let me tell you about what this book is and what this book is not. The Prince is not an evil book. It's not a book that is telling rulers to go out there and be wicked or maltreat their people. Now, this book is more of a realistic guide on how to govern a state. It's for people that want to understand how power works. Machiavelli is not talking about what ought to be. Machiavelli is talking about what is. And it's very important that we differentiate between what ought to be and what is. Because when I see people talk about this book, they're often talking about what ought to be, not what is. When Machiavelli wrote this book, it was hoping to get in the good grace of the ruler, because at the time, Machiavelli did not have any job. So he wanted to show the ruler his talent, his skill in terms of managing of a state. It's very important that we put this into context when reading this book. If you have read the 48 Laws of Power, then you recognize a lot of ideas in this book, because Robert Greene actually got most of his ideas or some of his ideas from The Prince, and it's even stated in 48 Laws of Power. So if you love 48 Laws of Power, you will definitely love The Prince. Let me talk about some of the lessons that I learned in this book. Out of everything in this book, one lesson hits different for me. Machiavelli talks about how a ruler, or in any case, anyone in a position of power, must rely on their own strength and not borrowed strength. You can't rely on mercenaries. You can't rely on other armies. You must rely on your own strength. It talks about rulers who hired soldiers, and how those rulers always end up weak or exposed, or they're eventually overthrown. Because when people fight for money, they will always abandon you when things get tough. But when you build something with your own capability, with your own resources and your own preparation, that is when you are truly secure. So this also applies in business. If your business model depends on entirely one client, or you depend on one platform like YouTube or TikTok, you are exposed. You are not secure. Now let's go to the next lesson that talks about fear and love. This is very controversial, and it's one of the most controversial parts of this book. Machiavelli asked the question, is it better for a ruler to be feared or to be loved? If you can't have both, it is safer to be feared. I know when people read this part of the book is a bit misunderstood. Machiavelli is not saying you should be hated, and he specifically said that you should not be hated as a ruler. What he's basically saying is this: if people love you, love is a bit conditional. You know, love condition is based on different things. But when it comes to fear, on the other hand is based on repercussion if they don't do what you want them to do. And it's not you being feared out of injustice. You don't want the people to fear you because you are not just. You want the people to fear you in the sense that they know that if they go against the state, there's repercussion. And this is very important. Like I've said before, Machiavelli said, you must never be hated. Because if you are hated, the people will rise up against you and they will overthrow you. And worst case scenario, you might be killed. So what you want is fear without hatred. That is the goal. A ruler is feared but respected, can maintain order. A ruler is feared and is hated. As I said before, he will be overthrown. So the full picture is this: people may love you when things are good, but love fades when things becomes a bit hard. But fear, when fear is managed right, fear is more consistent than love. Who will I recommend this book to? This book is perfect for two groups of people. Number one are politicians. If you're in government or you are managing a state like a governor or a president, you need to read this book. Machiavelli lays out exactly what you need in order to hold power and to manage a state successfully. This book will help you keep enemies away from attacking your state. The next set of people I want to recommend this book to are business owners. The dynamics of leadership, loyalty, and strategies in this book will apply directly to how you run an organization or how you run your business. This is my honest take on The Prince by Machiavelli before I end this video. The book is a bit hard to read. It was very difficult for me to read this book because some of the references are a bit old. We are talking about 1500 Italy. So some of the references, I didn't really get it. If you don't know history, some of the parts might go over your head. My advice to you is this. For every chapter that you read, use AI to explain the chapter to you. That was what I did, and it actually helped me a lot. Also, I wish this book had the same structure as 48 Laws of Power. I wish someone can rewrite this book, keeping the same message, keeping the same tone, but try to structure it in a way that we have transgression of the law, we also have observance of the law. And I wish they can write it in a way that the language and the tone of the book might be a bit easier to read, because as I said, it was very difficult for me to read this book. Just like 48 Laws of Power, this book is going to test your morality. There are some things that Machiavelli said that you might be like, why is he saying this? Why is he saying that? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. It might make you uncomfortable, right? But here's the truth. Being a ruler means you have to do the hard job. Sometimes you have to do things that might not be moral. But if it's good for the general society, if it's good for the country, you might do that. I'm recommending this book to you if you want to understand politics, if you want to understand how to be a better ruler, if you want to understand how to be a manager. As I've said before, make sure that you use AI to help you digest each of the chapters. And let me know in the comment section if you have read The Prince by Machiavelli, or what are the lessons that you got from this book. Drop your comment below. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and like this channel to get more content like this. As always, this is my personal opinion. I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.